Hello and welcome to a special primary election night edition of News 3. I'm Jessica Lorshay.
And I'm Kurt Williams. The polls have closed across Virginia, and we are watching three races across our region and the Commonwealth. In Virginia's 2nd Congressional District, former Congresswoman Elaine Luria has won the Democrat primary. She defeated three other candidates in the primary, and this sets up a rematch from 2024 against Republican incumbent Congresswoman Jen Kiggans.
And in the 1st Congressional District, Shannon Taylor has won out in a crowded Democratic primary field. There were 7 total candidates in this year's primary. Taylor will challenge Congressman Rob Whitman on the November ballot.
Voters also decided which Republican candidate will challenge current Senator Mark Warner for his seat this November, and Bert Mizusawa has won the primary against Kim Farrington and David Williams. Just last week, Senator Warner announced that if elected, this term would be his last. This was at a campaign stop in Stanton that he made those remarks.
Well, it has been more than 90 minutes since the polls closed across the Commonwealth, and we've seen those 3 races called.
All right, Brendan Ponton joining us here in the studio, our political guru. No real surprises tonight.
No real surprises here. And yeah, we can take a look here with our exclusive heat mapping technology of the results as they've come in. So green here represents Elaine Luria, and you can see across the 2nd district, she won every single locality, at least so far. They are still counting votes. 54% of the estimated vote is in right now. And so I can take a look here and show if I turn on the heat here, it shows concentrations of support. And so it got a little less green in Suffolk, which is actually where Dr. Neela Devanath is from. And so Dr. Neela was trying to challenge Elaine Luria, saying that she was the progressive candidate. And she did, get some votes here, just around 4,000 votes, about 18% of the vote total. But it wasn't enough to come close to Elaine Luria, who, as you mentioned, Kurt, is a previous member of Congress. She served for 2 terms and represented the 2nd district. And she was defeated in 2022 by Jen Kiggans. So this does set up a rematch between the two. And let's take a look here just at some of the localities and how they voted here in this. We can take a look at Virginia Beach, which is the biggest part of the 2nd district. And we see Elaine Luria with a lead that is very similar to what it is in the overall total, about 79% compared to Dr. Neela with about 17.5. So this one appearing to head to a rematch of 2022. And this is going to be a very, very hard-fought race into November. There's going to be millions of dollars spent on ads, spent on mailers. And so it'll be one that both sides really want to win. The GOP wants to hold on to the seat. The Democrats want to flip it. And we know that since 2008, the party that wins this district is the one that goes on to win the power in the House of Representatives. So right now, Republicans are in the majority in the House of Representatives. Jen Kiggans is a Republican. She's in office. And so they would like that trend to continue into 2027. We can also take a look here at District 1. Shannon Taylor, this was a little bit closer, 53% of the vote. And so, yeah, she's represented here in green. And once again, kind of like the 2nd Congressional District, it appears that she is in the lead in every single municipality in that area. And this includes, for our area, Williamsburg, James City County, Gloucester, Matthews County, and then it goes on up into Richmond. And so Rob Whitman has represented this district for a number of years. I think Democrats are hoping there's a chance they could flip this seat, but this one's definitely projected to be a tougher fight for the Democrats than District 2 would be. Right now, District 2 is rated as a toss-up by the UVA Center for Politics, while District 1 is rated as leans Republican. So I think the game plan for this one is they're going to take a look here maybe around Labor Day, see how the polls are looking, and then the Democrats will really decide how much money the National Party is going to put into this race or whether they feel it's going to maintain in the hands of Republicans. So some interesting results, kind of what we expected. We expected Shannon Taylor to win. Just, she's the Commonwealth's attorney in Henrico County. The establishment lined up behind her. And so we expected her to win. And it was also expected that Elaine Luria would be heading towards a rematch in November, guys.
So, Brendan, I guess the takeaway is we'll get back to you because we're going to hear from you a little bit later on, all right? Well,
yeah, our team, talking about the rematch that's coming up, right? Our team was on hand for Elaine Luria's watch party for her second congressional district primary victory.
she spoke to supporters on hand, and we also heard from other Democratic names like former Governor Ralph Northam. Now, Virginia Beach neighborhood reporter Romello Stiles joining us live from the watch party.
All right, Mello, how was that event shaped out? How was the attendance? And what was the mood knowing that Luria is going into the fall elections?
Hey, so I'm here at Happy Cafe, and the room was packed. Everyone was excited from really early on. Like that vote came in pretty early that, you know, she had took this victory. So people were really excited. Kurt, you said it, former Governor Ralph Northam was here. Congressman Bobby Scott was here. There was a bunch of people here really cheering her on. And when I was able to talk to Elaine, she said that, you know, now she's turning her focus to that rematch that you all talked about. Now, supporters packed the room, waving signs and applauding as Luria took the stage. During her victory speech, she thanked volunteers, donors, and voters, saying this campaign is about fighting for Hampton Roads and addressing issues she says matters most to families, including the economy, national security, and affordability. Luria also told the crowd tonight's win is just the first step, saying the real work begins as the campaign heads into the general election.
I think it's incredibly important that people across the district have a voice. I find many similarities between this time and 2018, but I find it even more urgent because we really have to put a check on what's happening. The checks and balances that our government is designed with, they're not working. Republicans in Congress are sitting back. They're falling in line with everything that Trump wants.
And one of the big things I heard here tonight from everybody that got up and spoke was some things haven't been the same since Elaine, and that's really what they're pushing to get back to get her back in that seat. But everything turns to that general election in November with that rematch between her and Kiggans. And later on tonight, I'll have that response from Kiggans about going forward into November. Live Virginia Beach, Romello Stiles, back to you on the studio.
Romello, is the party over?
Kurt, the party is wrapping up. I mean, it was fairly quick. I got here around 7 o'clock. They had called the race somewhere close to 7:30. Elaine came in, Governor Ralph Northam came in. Everybody spoke. I mean, about 8 o'clock, 8:05, this thing was wrapping up.
Okay, I guess they say that they know what the results are. It's time to go home and get some rest for the campaign season.
We got to be back at work tomorrow.
Yeah.
It's a Tuesday night. Okay.
All right, Mello, we'll see you again on News 3 at 10 on the spot Norfolk 27 and on News 3 at 11 with continuing coverage. Now, the current District 2 Congresswoman Jen Kiggans responded to Luria's win in a statement saying this, quote, Elaine Luria embodies everything that's gone wrong in Washington. The statement goes on to say, quote, over the next 91 days, I will continue working hard to earn the support of every voter in our district.
All right, before the polls close, we were joined earlier this evening here in the studio by two political experts to analyze the primary elections and what they could mean for the November midterms and beyond.
Here's a part of that conversation from earlier on here on News 3. Setting the stage for the balance of power in Congress.
We are joined by political analyst Dr. Eric Claville from Norfolk State University and former Virginia Governor Bob McDonnell. They bypassed Noah on the way into our station.
Swimming in.
Waved at the ark and then made it in. So thanks for joining us. Governor, let me start with you. So much attention on, in particular, what's happening on the congressional side of things, because what this potentially might mean for the balance of power. What is at stake here with the House?
Well, it's just a handful of seats to determine who has the power in the House of Representatives. Republicans, of course, with both the executive branch and both houses of the legislature, if they can keep their team together, can do a lot of things, but obviously it'll be divided government. Most people, especially limited government fans like me, actually sometimes favor limited government or divided government because it takes collaboration and cooperation to get things done. But there's obviously a lot at stake. I mean, the president's staked out a pretty clear agenda, very hardly fought.
I mean, a lot of money is being dumped into the second congressional district.
Well, $80 million alone just on the referendum debate, and now much, much more for the general elections in Virginia.
And Dr. Claville, as we're looking at what is potentially a rematch between Kiggans and Luria, what message are voters sending today in Virginia?
Well, you're looking at, the governor mentioned a referendum, but also what's happening in Washington. They're looking at affordability. They're looking at, of course, the conflict in the Middle East, and they're looking at continuity of government. So those are really the main three things that we find that voters are really looking at and wanting to send a message for. And we know, Congressional District 2 in Virginia has decided the power, not just the power here in Virginia, as far as how many seats each side has, but also the majority in the House of Representatives. So very important seat, very important litmus test.
What are you keeping an eye on tonight? I mean, where potentially could there be any surprises, or are you not expecting?
Yeah, Eric and I talked about that a little bit. I think when you have people like Elaine Luria and other, Tom Perriello and some of the other Virginia seats, they're very strong candidates and will likely win their primaries. The only one that I could see something going on is, Don Beyer in Northern Virginia. The energy in the Democratic Party is pretty much with the progressive, farther left wing. That's where the hotbed is, Arlington, Alexandria. It would be a stunning upset because Don's been there a long time, generally viewed as a little more moderate, former lieutenant governor, businessman. I really don't see that happen. The other interesting one for me is the 7th Congressional District. Eugene Vindman's kind of a newer Democrat legislature. There's two serious candidates there, and I think that one in the general election could be very competitive.
All right, we've seen low voter turnout, even in early voting. It'll be interesting to see what happens today with all the severe weather warnings that we've had. Voter turnout is something that we have been looking at for quite some time, so we'll see what the totals are, but we do know people did show up to the polls today.
They did. Nice. And just to point out that our political analysts, they will be joining us tonight again at 10 and 11. And I asked the former governor, any surprises? And no surprises.
No surprises tonight.
The establishment-backed candidates won.
Right, essentially, yeah. And, this is the Senate race, the Republican race here, as we continue to take a look at our exclusive heat mapping technology that's showing us the results as they come in. And so this is the Republican primary for U.S. Senate, and it's been called for Bert Mizusawa with about 51% of the vote. And we can take a look here at how he was able to generally win across the Commonwealth, although as we look in the middle of Virginia there, David Williams was able to get some votes there, like in Buckingham County or in Cumberland County. But so he will be the Republican that is going to be facing Mark Warner in November. Now, this is a race that election analysts at this point are saying is safe for Democrats. So we will have to see exactly what happens with this. He's going to have to go out and get his name out there more, so more people around Virginia know who he is. And then Mark Warner, of course, running for his 4th term as a U.S. Senator, and he previously served as governor. So a lot of people in Virginia already know who he is. So election analysts are not expecting that this will be a race that the Republicans pour a ton of money into, but still it will be an election, and Mark Warner will have to run for re-election and face an opponent. We know he faced very steep competition. You might remember in 2014 when Ed Gillespie ran against Mark Warner, and that became a very, very close race. But Mark Warner was able to win. And then 2020, not quite as close. That was when COVID was going on, but Mark Warner was able to pick up a 3rd term, and now he'll be going for a 4th term. So this is showing here 83% of the estimated vote total is in for this race. And we can zoom in here to Hampton Roads, and Mizusawa did pretty well here in Hampton Roads, as it looks like he won every single locality, or is at least winning as the votes continue to come in. We can take a look here at Virginia Beach. He got 64% of the vote. Norfolk, which is a city that will go blue in the fall, but they do have some passionate Republican voters. They got 50% to Kim Farrington, 28%, and then David Williams, 21%. We can also show you here Chesapeake, which Chesapeake, over the years has gone back and forth on being a blue city or a red city. So there will be an interesting city going into the fall, but 61% of the vote there in Chesapeake. So a pretty sizable win. A lot of times when we talk about races and there's multiple candidates like this, maybe there's one candidate that's considered maybe a front runner, is raising the most money, and then you have multiple people running against them, and it does make it easier for the front runner to win. And that's also what we saw earlier here in the 1st Congressional District. The establishment, like I mentioned, lined up behind Shannon Taylor, and then 6 other people decided to enter the race, and that just really dilutes any kind of opposition vote, as Shannon Taylor with about 53% of the vote. So this one was closer than it is right now in the 2nd district, with Luria at about 81%. There were 3 other candidates in this one, but the bottom 2 here didn't really pick up too many votes. So yeah, that's what we're seeing here. In Virginia, votes are not done being counted here. About 70% here are in this race. And we'll continue to monitor it and provide updates as the votes continue to be counted tonight, guys.
Brendan, we appreciate that exclusive Magis technology that you use to really break down how our neighborhoods are voting in these really important elections.
And this is the warm-up. This is the warm-up, right?
Yeah.
The big show is going to be in November, and man, they're going to be. You know, if y'all were annoyed by the political commercials now,
get ready.
You ain't seen nothing yet, because
early voting is just going to start in around mid-September. So I mean, we're really not far away from the general election, because we have 45 days of early voting in Virginia. So it's later this year, right? Because of redistricting, which wound up not advancing due to the Supreme Court of Virginia, but they pushed the primary back to August, and so now it is pretty close to the general election,
You're right.
which begins early now in Virginia.
We'll see if that will contribute to any voter fatigue, but people are pretty passionate about making.
hopefully not. All right.
Yeah.
You can't complain if you don't vote.
If you
right?
don't vote. There you go. Thank you, Brendan.
All right, thank you, Brendan.
And thank you for joining us on this special edition of Primary Election Night on News 3.
Our team is continuing to track these important congressional primaries all night long.
And we have a full breakdown of the primary races impacting our neighbors at the very top of the homepage of WTKR.com. Our next broadcast is News 3 at 10 on the spot north of 27. Stay with us on air, online, and on the News 3 app as we track the latest primary election results.